welcome back to the channel everyone. Hot on heels of last month's trip to Donington, I took the Caterham 420 to Brands Hatch for another track day, and yeah, wow, what an absolutely fantastic day that was. Many of the issues that I had last time have been fixed. So for instance, the diff that was throwing oil everywhere, that's fixed. The gearbox, the ECU didn't know what gear it was in, well that's fixed as well now. And yeah, really started to get to grips with the car, really started to get nearer its potential, and absolutely smashed the personal best that I did last time, which to be fair was now quite a few years ago. That was back in 2017 in my old car. But yeah, absolutely brilliant day out. The car was fantastic, really enjoyed it. The weather was great too, as you can see from some of this video. So what I'll do is I want to share 2 laps from the day. I'm going to share a 51.3 second lap, and then I'm going to share a lap that's even quicker than that as well. And I'll try and use the Circuit Tools analysis software to show why one lap was better than the other. And then what I'll also do, because I've been to Brands Hatch lots of times before and I've got lots of data from previous trips there, I'm going to be able to show a lap from the old car and compare the data with the fast lap from the new car. And yeah, we'll get an idea of why the new car is that much quicker. So yeah, stay tuned, hopefully you'll enjoy this, and yeah, here we go, here's the first lap. So already that's 1.8 seconds quicker than I've ever been before around Brands Hatch. So that's not bad at all. And yeah, I was reasonably committed on that lap. You can see in turn 1 I'm bouncing over the curb, and yeah, ran a little bit wide at Graham Hill at the bottom of the hill. But yeah, it was decent. So yeah, pretty happy with that. I kind of hovered around that time for most of the rest of the day, which was quite frustrating, but eventually in the very last session that I did, I really kind of tried to encourage myself to push a bit harder. You know, it's times like every time you arrive at Druids and I think, yeah, could have braked a little bit later there, could have braked a little bit harder. It was that kind of thing in the back of my mind. I was just really trying to push a little bit harder with the car. The kind of grip that the slicks give you is just incredible, and to get past your comfort zone of what you think the car can do into what it can actually do is quite a big step. So anyway, this next lap is the very last lap of the day, to the point where I actually crossed the line and the checker flag came out. So there were no more opportunities to go any quicker than this. Yeah, so this is a 50.69 or 50.7, but I'm calling it a 50.69 because that's what it is. That kind of sounds better, but yeah, this is that lap. Yeah, I was absolutely buzzing after that. When I saw the dashboard show 50.7, I was so chuffed. Really, really pleased with myself after that. Yeah, great lap. I was really happy with that. There is obviously a lot more I can do, and we'll come on to that in the data, but yeah, it was a really, really great way to end the day. As I said, I spent ages on around sort of 51.3. I did actually go slightly faster than that in that last session, but yeah, to end it on a 50-second lap was really good. I think the car will definitely do a sub 50. I think a 49 should be no trouble. But yeah, really, really good. There's still a couple of skill issues, things that I need to work on. For instance, not getting 100% throttle a couple of times. I just need to push the pedal all the way to the end. And I did miss a couple of gears still, which looking at the data is, yeah, clearly just a me issue, just needing to be really positive with the gear shift. But certainly the issues I had last time completely solved, which is brilliant. I did discover the car bottoms out slightly at the bottom of Paddock Hill. I might need to increase the ride height ever so slightly there, but I'm certainly going to need a new wedge on the bottom of the engine. And the V-Box didn't show the delta time properly in the overlay. I've since discovered that I need to have the OLED set to predictive timing to make that work, so that's fine, now I know. Shout out to Race Logic for your help on that one. I have also discovered that the catalytic converter has taken a bit of a hit. So all of these flat shifts, it doesn't do the cat any good at all. I think it's just a bit of fuel, bit of unburnt fuel coming through the exhaust. So I'm going to be running a decap pipe from now on, at least for track, which will save the cat for future use and being able to pass an MOT. Okay, so let's have a look at some data. This is those 2 laps in Circuit Tools. On the left hand side in the red box we've got the 51.3 second lap, and on the right hand side in the blue box we've got the 50.69 lap, and the lines on the graph represent those two. So blue fast, red slow effectively. We can look at speed, we can look at the delta, we can also look at the throttle position and the brake pressure as well. Those are kind of the main things that I look at to try and figure out why a lap was better than another. Although, as we'll see in this one, I am a little bit confused about one aspect of this, but we'll get onto that. So straight away we can see that on the delta I'm actually slightly behind on the blue lap. So presumably the exit from the last corner wasn't as good for this lap, but we can also see I'm braking a lot later for turn 1. So on the red trace I'm braking about here, but on the faster lap I'm braking quite a bit later, and as a consequence I'm carrying quite a bit more speed into turn 1, so nearly 124 miles an hour there. So that's good, that's where I'm making some time on entry there. I'm also then braking harder, so we can see down here more brake effort going in there, and I'm picking up the throttle slightly earlier as well, and in fact I'm back on the full throttle significantly earlier here, so that's again helping me carry some more speed. We can also see in the red line I'm sort of losing speed mid-corner, and that's sort of where I bobbled over the curb there, I think. Not the quickest way through there. So I've carried that speed. I mean, in fact, to be fair, by the time we get down to the braking point for Druids, the speed is pretty similar, but we have made a bit on the delta, so we're 5.5 tenths up at this point. So braking for Druids, I'm braking at roughly the same point. I was actually slightly earlier on the blue lap, but I put in significantly more effort on the brake pedal. It peaks at, you can't quite see it on here, it's nearly 44.5 bar of brake pressure, which is quite a bit more than the red lap. In fact, you can see the difference. There's a big difference there. So I really hit that brake pedal much harder. You'd have thought that would create a big difference in delta, and it might do, but this is where I'm struggling a little bit to read this and understand why there is then such a pronounced lap time improvement here with the delta. So on the way out of that corner, or rather it's not even the way out, it's on about apex, I'm making up quite a lot of lap time here, even though the speed trace is roughly the same. and in fact my throttle input here is broadly the same. In fact, I'm a little bit more cautious on the blue lap. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. I am earlier onto full throttle here, which is a good thing, but I don't think that's entirely where the lap time has come from there, because it's, as you can see, it's already started increasing over here. So if you're looking at this and you know more about this than I do, which isn't difficult, drop a comment, help me understand what's going on with that. That'd be great. And you can also see here, I mentioned before where I was struggling to get 100% throttle. In fact, both of these traces, they're both showing that I'm not using 100% throttle here, and the red lap is worse. So then again, yeah, we can see at the bottom of the hill, braking for Graham Hill Corner, I'm braking earlier in the red trace down here. I'm off the throttle earlier, braking earlier, and you can see it in the speed trace as well. So I braked and I was doing what 91 miles an hour, let's call it there, and on the red trace we're doing 92 and a bit miles an hour. So just a little increase in speed there, and again I'm braking much harder down here. So you can see 31.8, nearly 32 bar versus what did we do, 20, nearly 24 bar, let's call that down there. So yeah, braking harder, using the tyres a bit more is helping. Again, it doesn't really gain a whole load of lap time. In fact, it might have gained a little bit on entry there, but exit wasn't as good potentially. Not really sure why. Again, I'm a little bit earlier on throttle there on the blue line, again slightly earlier to full throttle, but yeah. So again, we can see on the red lap I'm not using 100% throttle here. Now that might be just because I was being a little bit cautious, because I'm not technically off track there, judging by where the white line is, but pretty close to it. So I think I was being cautious there. I've got one rear wheel on the painted concrete, which is not that grippy, so I'm just being a bit cautious there as I sort of rejoin the racing surface. But yeah, again, speed trace wise, we're just carrying that little bit more speed in the blue lap, and we sort of maintain that all the way down this straight until the next corner. Now this is something I do need to improve on. I'm braking here, and by all accounts I don't really need to. My feeling in the car was that I just needed to use a little bit of brake to scrub a bit of speed to help turn it in, but the feeling was that it sort of wanted to understeer a bit, and as soon as I got back on the power, it balanced the car out again, and that feeling of understeer started to go away. So really, I think this should just be a lift and then back on power reasonably quickly. Again, in the blue lap, I'm possibly a bit more confident with full throttle a bit earlier, so that's helping on there, I think. But entry speed here was good. I carried more speed on the way in. There you go, nearly 4 miles an hour, more speed on the way in. And then here, pretty similar, both laps. I'm kind of braking about the same, throttle input very similar. I think on exit here, I'm being, again here, I should really be braking a bit later for this, braking more into the turn, but that's something to pick up and improve on next time, I think. And yeah, just again, pretty similar speed on the exit here, and we can sort of see that in the delta, I guess. It's kind of flatlining at this point. In fact, I'm actually losing time slightly all the way to the line, so the red lap was probably slightly better through there, I think. But yeah, that gives us an indication of why one lap was better, or certainly why certain corners were better than others, so I can use that to try and go faster next time. So now I think this, for me, gets interesting, because now we can compare a lap in my old yellow car versus a lap in the new red car on the same track, same sorts of conditions, all that kind of stuff, and we can look at the data as well. Now, one thing I do need to make clear off the bat is the brake pressure. It's not a direct comparison. The brake pressure in the yellow car wasn't calibrated in the same way, so it was not a genuine bar reading, but we can still use that to look at when I braked and how I was using the brake pedal as well. Just as a reminder as well, the yellow car was a 1.6 Rover K series, about 180-ish horsepower I think at this point, versus the new car, 2-litre Durotech, 210 brake horsepower. Power to weight wise, the yellow car was about 360 in real terms, and the red car is just over 380 I think. Ignore the Caterham marketing figures they'll give you for power to weight. I'm talking actual car weight and power output. So we can already see, in fact this does sort of confirm the start of my blue lap. I think the exit from the last corner wasn't really great at all, because I'm already actually 500ths down on the yellow lap, even though this is clearly the better car. And we can see on the way up to turn 1, Paddock Hill, I'm carrying a lot more speed, and that is the power, and that is the gearing as well. The gearing is quite different. The gearing in the yellow car was really short, which was fun, but yeah, the longer gearing suits the higher output, higher torque nature of the newer car. We can see I'm braking much earlier in the blue lap, and that is purely because I'm going that much faster. So I'm braking at nearly 124 miles an hour braking, versus the yellow car, what were we doing, 120, just under 120. So that's quite a big difference there. So that's going to help there, and we can see I'm carrying quite a bit more speed through the turn as well. That is combination of the slicks and confidence, experience, all the rest of it. So that's good there. And then as we get to sort of the turn-in point here, there's a big difference in speed. As we can see here, there's 6 miles an hour difference in speed there, and that just helps with lap time all the way through there, all the way through the turn. Apex speed, 4 miles an hour more, 4 miles an hour more, so which is really, really good. We can also see in the throttle trace here, I have to change gear in the yellow car, and I have to use the clutch, and I have to come off the throttle to do that. And we can see that as well in the speed trace. The speed traces here are kind of similar. It's a very similar speed. There's a couple of mile an hour difference, but the path they're on, the trajectory there is quite similar, until I have to change gear. And of course, as I said, in the yellow car, I've got to come off the power, I've got to use the clutch. I don't have to do any of that in the red car, and you can see I just don't lose any momentum, any speed whatsoever when there's a gear change. And that difference is carried all the way up the hill to Druids. So it's interesting to see the difference the sequential gearbox makes, and that is a real difference. So that's cool. And then braking is happening at a pretty similar kind of point, slightly earlier with the blue car, but again, blue line. But again, I'm carrying more speed, so that's sort of to be expected, I guess. And then picking up the power on throttle a bit earlier, and let's see. So what else have we got again? Another gear change here, another loss of speed down the hill, and what are we doing there? So difference in speed, 92 versus 86, 87, I think, at the braking point there. So it's interesting, I think. What else? Again, apex speed, pretty big difference there, 6 miles an hour, and then we maintain that kind of difference in speed all the way through. Once again, there's a gear change here, and we can see it in the red trace there, and again in the red trace there. There's these two dips in speed. They are losses from gear changes, and by the time we get to the end of that straight, we're 8 miles an hour difference. That's pretty significant. So 8 miles an hour, some miles an hour. So and again, actually, look, we can see down here the blue trace, the new lap. I'm braking, and I wasn't doing that in the old car. I was just lifting, turning in, and then getting back on power again. So I think that is clearly the way forward to do that. I just need to get a bit more confidence and have another go next time. I think the rest of the lap, let's see. So I'm earlier on the brakes here, again, that was something I mentioned. I think we can do better there. And yeah, that's kind of it. We've got more apex, more turn-in speed here, I should say, as we come towards the apex. We're doing 5 or 6, 7 miles an hour more there, which is great. But we're losing out a little bit at the apex. So what's that? 58, 61 miles an hour. Yeah, so small difference there. But again, the power application here much earlier on throttle, and the engine just powers us out of that corner. It's brilliant. And again, gear change, loss of speed. We can see it all the way to the line. There's another one there. And yeah, by the time we cross the line, big difference in speed. Big difference. And that's how the new car is 2.3, nearly 2.4 seconds quicker on that lap than the old car. So there we go. I hope you found the analysis interesting. I will try and do that again for the next video. If you have any thoughts or comments on that, please leave them down below. I always read all the comments, really enjoy that. If you feel like subscribing too, that'd be really great, trying to reach 1,000 subs. And yeah, I really enjoyed my day at Brands Hatch. I really feel like the car and I are starting to bond. I'm getting more confident with it. And I was a little bit doubtful after Donington whether I still had it in me to push as hard as I should do to get the most out of the car. I've still got some way to go, but I'm getting there, which is great, and it's all about learning and progressing. So yeah, I guess the most important thing is I'm having fun, and there were elements of Donington which were getting quite frustrating, and it wasn't fun, but Brands Hatch was brilliant, and I can't wait to get out in the car again, which hopefully will be very soon. So stay tuned for the next one, and thank you very much indeed for watching.